Greetings and welcome to another video in the VoiceAttack News series. In this episode, we're going to continue working on the profile we started in an earlier episode for the game Spaceborne 2. I've done a little bit of work off camera, so we've added a load of extra commands in from what we had before. But there's a few things we can add in maybe, or tweak a command or two. But yeah, we've got a nice little selection here. Got the character commands, shared commands, and then ship commands. So we've added some commands in for the pips. So we have balance pips, which evens everything out. And this one puts power to the engines and the shields. All we're doing is we're doing a loop 4 times. Put power into shields and the engines. And we've got the same down there for shields to engines and shields to weapons. And they just reallocate the power to the appropriate systems. Yeah, we've got a nice selection of commands in there. Now there's one I do want to do, which is to do with the flares. So we've already got one in at the moment, which is deploy a flare. All this does is, depending on what we say, it'll either say flare launched or flares launched. I'm not too sure if I'm going to keep that in there, but we'll leave it for now. So yeah, what I want to do with this one is, so when you're flying around in combat, you get quite a lot of missile locks. So you have to keep on firing lots of flares off. So I want to make a command that will fire a flare off every, I don't know, couple of seconds. So while we keep on saying, launch flare, yeah, deploy flare, whatever, you keep on firing off flares for several seconds. Or we could have it fire flares off until we give a stop command, maybe. So yeah, you could have 2 commands, one for continuous flares, which will just keep on firing them off. Because at the moment, you have infinite flares. Or we can have, deploy X number of flares, and it'll just deploy that amount we want. Which we'll use this as a starting block. So what we're going to do, we'll right click, then duplicate. Then we need to change the when I say command to something different. So what should we have? What we'll do is we'll go into there and we'll do a space, and then we'll do open square bracket, and then we're going to do the numbers. So it'll be, let's do 1 ... 10. Close square bracket. So we've added in another dynamic command in there, which is the numbers. So by doing 1 ... 10, we can say deploy 1 flare, deploy 10 flares. But you could theoretically say deploy 10 flare. That's how that number sequence works there. What we need to do there is I'm going to get rid of, just disable it for the time being. So what we need to do is use the command segment token to detect how many flares we want launched when we say deploy 1 flare or whatever. So we need to go to Other, Advanced, Begin Single Condition, and then we need, it's going to be a text token because everything up there is in text. So we need to do the squirrely bracket. When you do tokens, they have to be all in capitals. C, segment, colon, and now we need segment 1. When VoiceAttack does its counting, it always starts at 0. That first block there is segment 0, that's segment 1, and that's segment 2. So we cancel that. We don't want to do it. We want to do a loop. Instead, we need to do it as a loop. So Other, Advanced, and then we need to do a loop. We want to press the key X number of times. In this case. And then we put in the command segment, which is the number we're going to get from up there. Okay, that. And then we want to put a pause in because there's a cooldown on the flare launcher. So we put a pause in. We could kind of guess it for the moment, but we'll have to go into the game and maybe test it to see what sort of length we want. For the moment, I'm going to do 1 second, but I'm going to change it. Double click on it, and then we're going to make it 1.5 seconds. And then end the loop. We need to move this in there, so move that down one. And actually, I'm going to get rid of that completely. Get rid of it. So what happens now is we can say launch and then a number between 1 and 10, flare or flares, and then it'll start the loop with the number we gave in the command. So it should only loop that X number of times. And we can test it as well. Be okay that and come out. Done. Open up Notepad++ in this case. Deploy 5 flares. Oh, didn't like that. I can't spell segment. That is why. There you go, typo alert. Touchwood should work. Launch 5 flares. There you go. Helps when you can spell. So now that's pressing X 5 times with a 1.5 second gap between. Launch 10 flares. There you go. We've launched 10 flares. That's how you can use the loop with dynamic commands. Now the other one we want to do is we want to do a continuous launch. Now what we can do is we can duplicate that one again, but we need a different line up here. So we want to do, okay, we want to do continuous flares, don't we? So, okay, let's think of the command. Right, so we want continuous flares. So now we want to change the loop, so we can't edit that. What we need to do is we need to kill that one there. And then back to advanced, and then start another loop. But now we want to do a loop indefinitely. Or, yeah, no, because we want to be able to break the loop. So what we want to do is we'll go Boolean while launch flares equals true. We want to press that key. So then what we can do is we can have another command where we can disable the continuous launch. We need to put that in there as well. Okay. Change that as well. So that would be that. And then I want to change that description on this one. Just so it makes it nice and tidy. Okay, so now that one there, we've got that one continuous. That's all good. I want to now turn that off. We can then duplicate that command there. Let's continue flares. And then we'll grab that there. And what we do is we basically get rid of all that. And then we do advanced, Boolean, set that to false. So we give the discontinue flare command, it will stop it. Whilst launch flares equals true, we set that so when it's not being set at all, it sets false. It will press that key continuously. So let's try it. Continuous flares. Discontinue flares. Okay, so for some reason it's not working, so go back in. I missed a very, very important thing. We didn't enable the variable, did we? See? Got to test these things. So we put that up there and then we change that to true. Okay, now it should, he says, hopefully touch would work. continuous flares. Ignore the little box underneath. That's just Notepad++ preempting what you want to type. And that will sit there until the proverbial space cows come home. Discontinue flares. And that stopped, see? We've got that going. So let's clear all that out of the way. Delete that. Okay, so we've got those commands in. We can always tweak them later on if we want to, but we need to test that pause. But I think 1/2 second might be enough. Okay, so that's those added in. Well, now we've got some other commands in which use the mouse button. So by default, the launch missile is on the keyboard, but I put it on my mouse because it's right under my thumb triggers, which makes it a lot easier when you're in the middle of a fight to keep pressing a button for launching missiles. But there's a thing you could do if you wanted to have an option to either press a mouse or a key. VoiceAttack can't do variables on mouse clicks. If we go into here and then go to click, you see you can specify what button you want to click, but you can't assign a variable to any of these like you could with a key press. It's nice if you could. So what you could do is, if we go and come out of F2X and I want to go and find my keybinds, go down here, have a look for missile, which is that one there. I'm going to copy that. So we want to be able to detect whether there's something in the keybind variable or not. So what we do is we can go to Other, Advanced, Begin Single Condition. Okay, so then if that equals blank, we want to press the mouse button. Else, we want to do the actual keybind itself. In this case, it will be press key, variable. What I'm saying is, if that variable is blank, we'll do the mouse button in this particular case. Else, we'll do whatever's in that text variable. We okay that and done. But it's something you can do if you've got mouse clicks instead of key presses, and in case you ever want to maybe go back and change it, you don't have to go back and edit the commands again. So we could do the same thing for, in effect, copy that. Because we've got a couple of other ones here. So there's that one there for next target. So we could put that in there, move that down one, get rid of that one. We need to go and find the next target bind, which in this case is set to cycle targets, which is there. I want that one. Come out of that. There we go. So back into ship commands. Where was we? Where was we? That one there. Yeah, so now, if I ever change the keybind for those which were pressing the mouse, I don't have to come back here and remember to edit this. I think we're going to test the flares commands. So we're going to come out of that. We're going to fire up the game. Alright, so we've got the game loaded. Let's jump into it and get ourselves into a spot where we can test the flares. Right, so now we're in the game, in the ship. We're looking outside. Launch 3 flares. Okay, we've only got one launch. That basically means that the pause of 1/2 seconds isn't long enough, so we need to go and tweak that. We need to go into that command and edit that. I'm going to change it to 2 seconds. Launch 3 flares. Okay, it only launched 2 by the looks of it. Launch 3 flares. Okay, that only launched 2, so we need to maybe increase it a little bit more. No, we need to go and change it again. Maybe 2.5 seconds. Launch 3 flares. No, and it does 2 again. After a little bit of testing, I worked out that a 4-second pause works perfectly. And I set the pause command in the continuous flares to be 4 seconds as well. Continuous flares. That looks better. Discontinue flares. And now, no more flares. And that's sorted. The other thing we can do is we can test the pips commands. Shields and engines. There you go. So we've got more power into shields and engines and less in weapons. Weapons and shields. Oh, we haven't got that one. Shields and weapons. Okay, so that didn't quite work. Let's have a look at shields and weapons. Why did that not work? Also, I'm going to add another option in, so we're going to do weapons and shields. Like I say, either or. So why did that not work? Weapons and shields. Balance power. Balance pips. Weapons and shields. Balance power. That's another thing I could add in. Balance pips. Shields and weapons. Okay, it's working now. Oh, maybe might have found something we need to fix. Shields and engines. Ah, right, okay. What I need to do is I need to balance the pips each time before it does it. So, okay, so we go back in and we can go in here. So what I want to do is we're going to do 2 things. One, we're going to change that so I can say power as well. And then what we want to do is, before we give any of these other commands, these ones, for example, we're going to go in to VoiceAttack, execute another command, and then from the drop down I want balance pips and power. Okay, I want to put that at the very, very top. So before we do anything, it will balance those, and then put a slight pause in, just of 1/10 of a second. Copy that, go back out here, and then get that out there, and then put that at the top. So now we can go and give it a test. Weapons and shields. Engines and shields. Great, so therefore we know it now works. We found a little bug, we fixed it. Now what we might want to do is we might want full power to one of those systems, like engines for example, if we want to escape. Balance power. So now I want to do that, which is just 2 less. So we want to balance it, we want to do 2 left. We go back in. And then what should we have as the command? Power to engines. I'm just going to copy that for 2 secs. And then we'll do power to engines there. That's the description. We're going to copy that out, paste it in there. And then all we need to do is get rid of that lot there. And then, well, you could have, well, just change that to 2 times. And that should go and test it. Power to engines. Ah, right, so we need to go one more. Okay. Edit the command. I need to put a slight pause in there. Let's do 10th of a second. Like that. Power to engines. Alright, so it's still not enough. Ah, we can hold it down. We can hold it down. Alright, so we're going to do that then. We're going to hold it down for a bit longer. We go back in. So you'd have, with some commands, you'd have to do a bit of testing. So what I want to do there is hold that down for maybe, let's do, oh no, not 3 seconds. 3/10 of it. No. 3/10 of a second. Try that. Power to engines. There you go. That works. So now we've got full power to engines. We could also do a power to shields as well. We go back in and then we can do duplicate. We have power to shields. And then we need to change that one there. Let's see what it was anywhere. I think it's just shields, wasn't it? I think it was just called shields. I think it was anyway. Check. Oh, shield. Singular. Power to shields. There you go. We've got full power to shields. And then we could also do one for weapon as well. Why not? Let's do one for weapon. Go back here. And the weapon one was just weapon, wasn't it? I think. Oh, see, that one there is weapons, isn't it? I did that one as plural, so. Power to weapons. So now we can balance power. Power to engines. Power to weapons. Power to shields. Power to engines and shields. Engines and shields. Weapon and shields. I think that covers most eventualities. You could have engines and weapons if you wanted, but I don't know if that's needed. But that's quite a nice little set of commands there for the old pips management. We could have an option to do the fire groups because we've got the 2 fire groups. Group 1 there and group 2 there. We could switch between. Yeah, we could do that, couldn't we? So let's do that one. So what we want to do is go back in and then go back in here quick. And I think this is on a shared one, isn't it? Shared. Not shared. Maybe not. Okay, so we've got weapon group 1 and 2. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy just the weapon group bit and then come out of that. We go into ship commands. We can make 2 commands, fire group 1 and fire group 2. What we'll do is new command. We wanted to go into ship commands there, and then via group 1, we do actually want to press, oops, there we go, via group, that's group 1. Give it a description so we know what it does. So when we say fire group 1, it just presses that. We can then duplicate that one and go fire group 2. Change that to 2. Make that 2 as well, and we're done. And now we can change the fire groups by voice control. I think that's it for the profile for the time being. I'll have to play the game some more to see if I can come up with anything new. But for now, I think that'll be it. If you have any questions, comments, ideas about anything, put them in the comments section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you've enjoyed the video or found it useful, click the like button, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe too, and share the video out. Until the next one, take care, and I'll see you soon. Toodles!